Hello YouTube, Robin Hood Bricks here, and there's a new train in town. Yes, this will be the first of a series of several videos involving the brand new passenger train 60337. We'll be doing everything from small improvements to conversions to whole mock carriages, but first let's get the base set built and see how it looks. Alright, well there is the set built, and I must say it was a very nice build indeed. It was a little repetitive at times in the carriages, especially on the second one, but there are some really interesting details on the interior of those and on the locomotive that make it very entertaining. Now, this set is quite expensive at £130 or $180 US. But it does come with quite a lot of powered up functionality on the inside of this, including lights as standard, which is not always the case, and you do actually get 8 pieces of straight track as well as all the curves to make a complete loop, so it isn't quite as bad value for money as you might consider at first. Also, we get 4 passenger minifigures as well as 2 crew, so that's more than usual as well. And they come with the suitcase, backpack, laptop, wheelchair and a bike with saddlebags, so everything is absolutely packed and stacked. Awesome! Well, that's a good start. Let's look at all these elements one by one. Now, the station is a very basic setup, but I'm glad they included it. It comes with a ramp so people can get up from ground level, a nice bench, which I think they should have added an advert on, much like the station set that comes in the same wave. I'll have to look for an appropriate sticker to add to mine, and a map, of course. The map is a little high, but I think we can forgive that, easily fixed. The other thing that is a bit odd about this platform is the distance it is from the track itself. You'd have to mind quite a gap if you wanted to get in unencumbered, especially if you're in the wheelchair. Good. Now, the locomotive is arguably the most controversial part of this set. I know my first impressions of the pictures that were released were not all great, I must say. I thought it was a bit too lime, which it's arguably guilty of, and a bit too pointy, which again it could be guilty of. But, you know, it looks a lot better in the flesh, which is true of a lot of sets, I must say. Mrs. Hood thinks the front very much looks like the head of a snake, with the lights being the eyes. I suppose all it would need would be a forked tongue coming out of there. Don't know if you can see that. But I think it looks very aerodynamic, which makes sense given it's supposed to be a very high speed train. We've even got a little sort of splitter type spoiler on the underneath side here, so I think that looks really good. Other really good bits include these side panels with all of these vents on and these really nice stickers, the underside sort of smooth bit here, and even these Technic 1x4s here, and the large pantograph, which I like. That can really go up really quite high if you wanted to have some wires in your city. So yeah, all in all, I think it's looking pretty good. It's not all in its favour though. There is still quite a large expanse of line, which I'm not sure I'm a massive fan of. This window for the driver is either part of a driver door or just a window out, but it's nowhere near him himself. And indeed, you can see that half of it's blocked through that window. I think it would have been a lot better if they'd used the plain style of windows with a bit of edging and maybe a slightly smaller opening in there. And talking of smaller openings, I think it'd be a lot better if you didn't have so many different coloured bricks and bits showing through all the workings in the roof. I mean, obviously we do need to be able to see the light to a degree, but I think there are more subtle ways of doing it. That said, it's a great shape. I like the back, this sort of curved overhang that goes over the edge of the base. So yeah, all in all, I think it's looking good. Now, I did have a concern that it wouldn't really go around my city just because it looks so pointy that maybe the front was a massive overhang and would hit all surrounding sort of trees and buildings. But I thought I would do a pointiness comparison from the position of the front wheels to the nose and compare it with other trains around my city and see, well, is it too pointy? Now, although the front starts to curve down from a much further back position, the fast passenger train 60051 is actually more nosy than this. Who'd have thought it? And it's neck and neck with passenger train 60197, even though the profiles of these two are quite different. And finally, it's nowhere near as pointy as my mock Zeppelin train, so I'm fairly certain this is going to be fine getting around my city without smashing into stuff. And it's really nice in a way that this is a brick-built front. All the other three have used quite large canopy pieces or cockpit pieces to make their construction complete. And it's quite a good change to have one that's done differently, much like the Horizon Express set before all of those. Now, the first of our carriages is a buffet car with disabled seating, and all of these carriages have this very nice end with the curved bricks and the overhang, which allows them to get very close together when they're joined up, so there's not an unsightly gap between them. They've also got this clever technique of using a slope and inverted slope together, so the stripes can continue into the dual level. And the dual level itself is made up of two new pieces, well, relatively new anyway, which allows us to do some really versatile train builds in the future, I think. And they're 16 studs long each, so that makes this wagon 32 in total, which means it's slightly shorter than the old split level wagon that I would have used for a double decker that was 34 studs long, but way longer than what was arguably too short as our normal 24 stud long carriage. So I think that's a really good improvement. One of the other really good improvements is that we've got a very accessible interior. Not one but two sections of the roof come off. The middle section is quite firmly attached, but you can access that through the doors, of course, double doors on each side. And there's loads of wonderful details in here. I really like the fact that the seating is accompanied in every instance by a luggage rack, so you can put suitcases in that. And that round section there is just so you can attach the wheelchair to it securely. Then we've got the buffet wagon over here, which is packed and stacked full of food and got some proper coffee mugs and a hot dog and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's looking really good. I think the right level of stickers have been applied, just two on each side. And the only real problem is how a minifigure would access the top level on each side, say here, or the buffet, without needing steps to get there from the lower level. I mean, I think that would be really difficult, but not as hard as choosing which face to use on the conductor lady. Right, so that, or, that, that, or, hold on. Now, some minor gripes include the fact that the buffet bar is inaccessible from the outside and is incredibly high, as you can see from the top of the driver's hat there, level with the cash till. Also, we've got the new style of wheels, which haven't got the metal rods in between them. They're just sort of clipped in. And I've got the suspicion that they aren't going to last as well as the older side. I do think the double doors are a bit odd looking, especially because they have to open outward like this rather than some sort of modern retracting doors or something like that. And that's probably going to clash with a lot of people's station platforms if they're not the right height. But I guess there was no point in really having this dual level base if you weren't going to use the centre to put in a full height door. So yeah, I think there are a few problems with this, but overall I think it looks rather smart. And then finally, our second carriage, and this is pretty much exactly the same build, except for we've got seating in here and some bicycle racks. And they're very clever, actually, a simple way of attaching a bike vertically inside there with some modified bricks. It does block the passengers in to a degree, but it works quite well. And there is the luggage rack being used on the other side as well. So, all in all, I think this is a really good set. The only thing really to do now is to join it all up and get it into the Lego City going around my track. Awesome! Right, so new train in town on the girder bridge, looking very smart. So let's get it going, nice and slowly at first, through the station, across the level crossing, and through the tunnels. Yep, looking good through all of the gaps. Give it a bit more welly now so we can get it flying through the doors of the train shed. Wow, I really like its lime colouring now. It makes it stand out when we're trying to keep up with it on all these views. And I think the longer carriages really suit it as well. Yeah, looking good. If only I could keep up with it, that would be something. Yeah, I like it. So one of the stickers inside says that it's going 303 kilometers an hour, which is 188 miles per hour. So let's get this thing cranked right up. Whoa, that's fast. So, what's the final verdict? Well, I think it depends on who you are as a LEGO train fan, really, whether you'll like this set. As a young person, it has great functionality, playability, accessibility, and that all makes for a great toy train. If, on the other hand, you're an adult fan of LEGO like me, in search of a more refined look, then I still think this is a good start, but there are many things that we can do to improve it, and that's what I'll be doing in the rest of this series of videos. Little changes, big changes, and completely new carriages all coming up very soon. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated. Do remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome LEGO videos. And if you value this channel, there are many ways in which you can support it. Do check out the links in the description below. And next time on Robin Hood Bricks, I think we might be doing more of these train builds, if we can muster together all of the parts required. Otherwise, we can get on with our deep sea base in our deep sea cabinet, or maybe finish off the fairground, or, well, something else brand new. So until then, see you!